Crypto was built to be borderless and open. But watch what happens to most of those digital assets. They flow out of an open network and get locked behind the closed doors of a single private vault. When most people buy crypto for the first time, they use platforms like Binance, Coinbase, or Kraken. They have customer support, familiar apps, and an experience close enough to online banking that it barely requires an adjustment. But that familiar interface is deceptive. A centralized exchange is not a bank. If your local bank gets robbed, regulators step in, deposits are insured, and the institution absorbs the loss. An exchange has none of that infrastructure by default. When you deposit funds onto a platform, you are handing your assets over to a private company. You are trusting them to keep your money safe, relying entirely on their internal bookkeeping and solvency. There is an alternative. A decentralized exchange, or DEX, lets you trade one token for another without a company in the middle. There is no CEO, no headquarters, and no account registration, just code running on a blockchain. This matrix shows how we evaluate the two options. We have to look past the user interface and compare them across three distinct layers: who holds the assets, how trades are actually matched, and where the specific risks lie. Choosing between the two means choosing what kind of financial system you want to participate in and what risks you're willing to take. This diagram shows what happens when you trade on a centralized exchange. On the left is the actual blockchain. On the right is the exchange's internal database. When you buy a token on a CEX, nothing moves on the blockchain in real time. The platform simply updates its own internal database to reflect your new balance. What you hold is an IOU from the exchange. That database model has real advantages. It allows for instant speeds because the exchange doesn't wait for blockchain network confirmation. It also means they can offer traditional customer support, like resetting your password if you lose it. The trade-off is absolute dependence. If the platform goes bankrupt, your assets get tied up in insolvency proceedings. If an algorithmic compliance flag triggers, your account can be frozen instantly, locking you out of your funds until support responds. A decentralized exchange operates entirely differently. Instead of a database, it uses a smart contract. This is a self-executing piece of code that holds tokens and swaps them automatically based on mathematical rules written into it. Nobody approves your transaction. This is a peer-to-protocol system. You connect your own wallet, and the swap happens directly on the blockchain in real time. The DEX never takes custody of your funds. You control the keys from start to finish. Total sovereignty requires total liability. DEXs have no customer support line. Send funds to the wrong address? Approve a malicious smart contract? Nobody can reverse the transaction. You bear 100% of the operational responsibility. A centralized exchange offers convenience and familiarity that takes custody of your assets. A decentralized exchange ensures you retain full ownership, but removes the safety net entirely. Custody is only half the equation. Whenever you place a trade, the system has to figure out the current price and find someone willing to take the other side of your transaction. This visual breakdown shows how assets are priced. Every trade involves a pair. Let's look at ETH/USDC. The asset on the left is the base currency. That is what you are buying. The asset on the right is the quote currency. That is what you are paying with. The number shown tells you exactly how much USDC you need to buy 1 unit of ETH. Centralized platforms find that price using an order book. This is a live list of buyers, called bids, and sellers, called asks. When a buyer and seller agree on a price, the exchange executes the trade automatically. Order books are highly efficient for popular tokens, but require constant human participation. If an asset has few active buyers and sellers, the order book hollows out. Without someone on the other side, your trade simply cannot execute. Decentralized exchanges bypass this problem entirely using liquidity pools. Instead of waiting for another person to place a matching order, you swap directly against a smart contract filled with tokens funded by other users. As you put one token in and take the other out, the ratio of assets inside the contract shifts. The code automatically calculates the new price based purely on the exact quantities remaining in the pool. An order book matches your trade with another person. A liquidity pool matches your trade against a pile of assets governed strictly by math. Understanding these mechanics clarifies what you are actually doing on these platforms. Buying and selling usually mean you are exchanging traditional fiat currency, like dollars or naira for crypto. Swapping is a distinct action. A swap is a direct, wallet-to-wallet exchange of one digital token for another. You bypass fiat currency completely, moving from ETH straight into USDC in a single step. But swapping against an automated pool introduces a specific hazard: slippage. When you request a swap on a decentralized exchange, you are quoted an estimated price. It takes a few seconds for the network to process your transaction. If other traders swap against that same pool while you wait, the ratio shifts and the price changes. You might end up getting slightly fewer tokens than you initially expected. Liquidity pools ensure you never have to wait for a counterparty, but slippage is the embedded cost. It is the algorithmic toll you pay to trade in a market with no central authority managing the spread. A centralized exchange holds your hand and holds your keys. A decentralized exchange holds neither. This chart maps your options. We plot technical capability against primary needs, from easy onboarding to strict self-custody. If you need fiat conversion, deep liquidity, and a password reset, you fit the convenience profile. You belong on a centralized exchange. Handing custody to a private company introduces counterparty risk, but provides an essential on-ramp. However, if you prioritize privacy, early-stage tokens, and immunity from arbitrary freezes, you are a sovereign trader. A decentralized exchange is built for you. Managing your own wallet and bearing the entire liability of your trades is the non-negotiable cost of removing the middleman. In practice, most advanced users rely on both. They use a centralized platform to move cash into crypto, transfer those funds out to a self-custody wallet, and use decentralized protocols for active swapping. Evaluate how much operational responsibility you are ready to take on. The infrastructure you choose dictates the reality of what you actually own.